Happy Pride Month, everybody. This is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about Modern Family Season 5, The Wedding. So this is a two-parter and it's the season finale. We finally get to see Cam and Mitchell get married. They are the last couple on the show who is not married. Ever since season 1, they've been together, but only as boyfriend and boyfriend. But they became engaged in season 4 when they had to change like a flat tire. They both got down to fix the flat tire, and Cam decided, him and Mitchell decided it was just time to like propose and everything. And so these two are some of the funniest people on this show. But not both of them are gay. Only the one who plays Mitchell, Jesse, is gay. The one who plays Cam is actually, well, he says he's straight. So we have to take his word for it. And shocked the world when he revealed that, because he plays such the most like flamboyant gay man on television. You seriously think he is and everything, but he's not. I've seen him in something else, Bad Teacher, and he plays a completely straight character that way it's like night and day. And so he really transformed himself to play Cam. And I forget, I think it was like the audition, I think he had the audition twice for the show or something like that, the actor. And so he finally got it. But honest to God, man, you seriously think this man is really that flamboyant gay? Because he just plays it so well. And so with this episode, The Wedding, they're finally gonna get married. But of course it's a wedding episode, so there's gonna be complications. And what kind of complications are there? And so, like, that's how it is in sitcoms. Boy Meets World, Friends. For the most, there's always a complication to why they can't get married. I think this is a pretty good episode. It's pretty decent. It's not like the best, but there are a lot of funny moments in it. However, the first half of the two-parter seems like just another regular episode where you get like all the family interactions and stuff. It doesn't even really feel like it's a wedding type episode more until you get into the second one. But even then, it's not really until they actually get married. And so, like, because I still think Friends is that best wedding episode. But like I said before, this is good. This is decent and stuff. It's just that it feels just like another episode. But it happens to be their 100th episode. Now, I will say, at the end of season 5, this is probably one of the last good seasons until the final season in season 11. Everything in between then just didn't feel all that great. And it was around the time that people were just going with the motions, and they finally realized, we just need to cap this show off. And so they made a good banger in the last season. And so, like, in this episode, there are multiple storylines going on. I mean, there are a lot of storylines that are going on. And some of them are pretty funny. Others are just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. And so some of the storylines that go on in here, one very brief one is Manny. He has a ginormous pimple on his cheek, and that's about it. That's really the focus of him. And it doesn't even really focus on him being insecure about his pimple. Instead, him and Luke, when they're in the wedding in the second part, see, the thing is like weird. It's like, the whole relationship of this show is kind of awful, like kilter a bit. Because, it's a modern family, and you have Jay, who's the older person, but he's married to Gloria, who's the same age as his kids. And so Manny is like his stepson, right? And so, like, he's technically Luke's uncle, but they act like they're cousins, and sometimes they act like they're brothers. But that's really his uncle. So that's so weird that Manny is like the uncle of like, the younger kids, and he's around their age. And so him and Luke, they have like this bromance type of thing. And so there's a funny bit where they're always together and they bicker like a married couple. And then the dad's telling them how, he officiates a wedding and they're next to the chapel type thing. And, it looks like they're getting married. And Alex is just like recording them, thinking it's great because they don't realize they're acting like a gay couple and stuff like that. So that's really all he has to do in this episode. Let's see. They decided to do one of those things that's kind of like a first, where they split off like characters in the show that never really get to interact that much. They did it in season 3, I believe. That Express Christmas episode, and it was really good. And here it's only half good, you know what I'm saying? The whole stuff with Claire and the stuff with Luke is not all that interesting. She has to pick him up at camp. See, the thing is, Phil wanted to pick up Luke because he's like, those two bond. Like, they have a great time because they're both silly. But he's stuck with Alex, the nerd. And, Claire, she has to, I don't know what's going on with her. She feels like Luke's not really connecting with her no more and talking to her. And so they have this awkward thing where they're on a boat. And it just makes for a very uninteresting time. But she is technically her brother's best man, or best person, as she kept saying it and stuff like that. It's funny. What's really weird is like the actress who plays Claire and the actress who plays Cy, who is played by Elizabeth Banks, they look like twins in real life. I'm surprised nobody's never brought that up, or how they never played sisters. And so, but then you get the whole Phil and Alex thing, and they are hilarious together because he wants to do all this silly type stuff, and she's being the stern, nerdy person who doesn't want to. And then when they only have like an hour before the wedding, they have to pick up some type of gift, but there's a long line, and he just came back from the eye doctor, which is kind of weird, and it made no sense. He came back from the eye doctor, and his eyes are dilated, and he has to wear these big, thick glasses. Shades and everything, right? But then in the next episode, and every time else you see him, he's out in the sunlight and he doesn't have his shades, which doesn't make no sense because his eyes should be like, light sensitive right now. But with the giant shades on, he looks like a blind man. So he picks up a stick and he pretends to walk like a blind man just to get in the head of the line. But Alex don't want to do that because, she's a goody two shoes and stuff. And so he's supposed to pick up a gift and it's supposed to be turquoise and everything. But he can tell because he's not blind that it's not the right color. So he's all like, for some reason, this does not feel like the color I needed it. And so the clerk, is being snooty with him and everything. Now, the black lady who's behind him, she is a famous actress. She was Jacqueline on The Walking Dead season 1 before they killed her off in episode 6. And so, like, then Alex decides, she's gonna play along, and when she does it in her very scientific, smart, nerdy kind of way. But it was so cool to see those two bond together. With Haley, basically, it's the Andy situation. It's coming to an end. He was the Manny and everything, and she started to fall for him. A lot of people wanted those two to get together. I never did. I never liked it, Manny. He was too odd and goody, too shooey. But I do like how he says jinkies and stuff like that. But I was so glad to finally see his character leave because I never liked none of the guys that's Haley like end up with because they just never seemed right. And Lily is just being her sassy little self, but she's with like her fathers and everything. And so with them, Cam has to pick up his tux, but he can't because the dude who works at the laundry place is gone. And so they try to break in, but Lily is able to crawl through like the chute. But then she gets stuck on the little clothes rack thing as it's like moving around. So when the owner does finally come back, they have to like distract him, go get Lily and all this other stuff. And it does make for a really hilarious like bit because the owner is all like, "Where did she come from?" And he's all like, "Sir, that is racist," because Lily's like Asian and stuff like that. What's weird? If Modern Family was made today, I think it will get butchered by the anti-woke mob on YouTube because you have a gay couple, you have an Asian girl who was like adopted, you have two Colombians, and one of them's married to like an older conservative man, and Jay is like a bigot, but they would probably love that, and they would like scorch this show and everything because they would consider it woke. But and that's the sad thing, times that we're living in nowadays, when everything that comes out, they want to complain about. And they always say, just create your own characters and start race bending and gender bending and turning characters gay and stuff like that. But then when they do create their own characters who are women, black, or LGBT, they still complain about it. So it's not the fact that anything's getting bent. It's just the fact they want everything to remain how it used to be years ago, where it was just white and straight on television and in movies and stuff. And it's sad because these people are reshaping America because it's now bled into politics. I mean, you see the crap that's going on in Florida. It's insane. And it's just insane. This does not look like the America I remember. It looks like the America like before I was ever born. And so, I think and then also you have the parents and everything. You have Jay, who Mitchell is pissed at him. Jay says something about their gay wedding, I believe, and it pissed Mitchell off. And so those two aren't speaking throughout the entire episode. Jay really wanted to make amends, but Mitchell's just not having it. Because, Jay is like the bigot / type racist of the show. But after this season, he's no longer like that. And he's never been cool with his son being gay in the past. And it was something that was really hard for him. Because Jay is very old school and very conservative and stuff. And so you have Gloria, of course, who is the stepmom. And then you have Cam's parents, who I believe we meet for the first time, and they're very, very country. And Cam's father is very much like Jay. He's old school and everything, but he accepts his son because he loves him, but he still would probably rather his son be straight. And apparently Cam's parents are going through a rocky patch, to the point where they're getting advice from Gloria and Jay, to the point where they decide they're gonna break up. And so this causes Jay and Gloria to try to fix everything. However, the way they fix it is weird. They still give more advice, but Gloria don't know what the world she's talking about, and Jay is talking to Dee Dee, his first wife, on the phone. And somehow this causes both of them to get together again. However, when Jay and Cam's father were at the spa, Jay and his father were very embarrassed to say that, hey, they told her, their kids are getting married, but they think it's a guy and a girl. They was too ashamed to say it's two guys and everything. And so this really shows, the type of person Jay is. And the person that, Cam's father used to be and stuff. But even though Cam's father has come around, he is still, a bit embarrassed to tell, a bunch of guys he never met that his son's about to marry another man. And so, it turns out that Mitchell's mother didn't show up because she hurt her leg. Somebody pushed her and she hurt her leg. But it turns out she just didn't want to go because she wants to live her life and do what she wants. And when Jay tells her, hey, when you come down for this holiday, you can watch the wedding and everything on video. But she doesn't want to because she's too busy wanting to live her life and she could care less. And this is really a turnaround in the episode, because it's even though Jay is uncomfortable with his son being gay, he is still willing to go to his wedding, whereas the mother is not. And that really tells, like, the tale of how Dee Dee really is and why people can't stand her, not even her own kids, and why Jay left her and stuff. And it does make you wonder, like, I've always wondered how the actor who plays Mitchell feels about Ed O'Neill, who plays Jay. Only because back when Ed was on Married with Children, him and Amanda Bears never got along. Amanda Bears is a lesbian in real life, but she played Marcy Darcy, and Marcy Darcy was a straight horny woman. Well, her and Ed used to always bicker on set, and they could never get along. And I don't know why they couldn't get along because it's never really been explained. But he literally said that since he was high ranking on the show, he had a proverbial button. And if he wanted to push it at any point in time, somebody could have got fired on the show. But the fact is, he never pressed it on her. Even though those two could not get along, he always wanted her on the show. But then they made headlines because she did not invite him to her wedding. And she said it's because him and the guy who played Bud would have laughed and made jokes about two women getting married in tuxedos. And he said, yeah, he probably would have made a joke about that and stuff like that. But, like I said before, he seems to get along pretty well with, the actor who plays Mitchell. So I don't think he's homophobic. I just think he's one of those old-fashioned type guys, kind of like Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi, to where it's like, the thought of offending a person gets them high. You know what I'm saying? Like that old school. They make jokes and they offend whoever they want, but they do it in like a laughable kind of way because they think it's okay because they grew up in those type of times. And the thing they have to realize is that those times are like over with now. The thought of getting hung just because, you made an offensive joke is not like always a great thing. Like nobody wants to be made fun of and stuff. And so throughout the entire episode, it's like very chaotic because they're running around trying to get married and everything is ruining their marriage to the point where they're about to get married, but then something happened. Like they had 3 hours, right? But then something happened and now they only have an hour. So everybody has to rush their stuff. And so when they do finally about to get married and stuff, there's a giant forest fire. And so the wildfire has caused them to have to change locations. They find a new location that's very gorgeous and everything. Only problem with that is that the original people who were supposed to get married there decided that they are going to get married, so they pushed them out. On top of all that, all the decorations are not how, Pepper wants them to. And I never knew Nathan Lane was gay until he played Pepper on this show. Because I've never seen him in person. I've only heard his voice until I saw him on the show. And it turns out he is gay in real life. So then they decide to have like the wedding, at Mitchell and them place, which all their people can't like be there. They have to be outside. The sprinklers are going off and this and that. And Cam just kind of like, this is probably like a sign and everything. They shouldn't get married and stuff. But, gay rights have come a long way to where they can get married now. And it's insane knowing that the Supreme Court has to, no, not the Supreme Court, but the senators have to keep voting on that. I thought once that was a law, that was it, you know what I'm saying? But they don't have to keep re-voting, but apparently they do. And of course, there are some people who vote for them not to get married. And so, but then Jay does something unexpected. He goes back to his country club and he allows the wedding to go on there. And then he literally tells everybody, this is my son, and he's getting married to his boyfriend and everything, showing that Jay has truly come around to the point that where he accepts his son. He loves his son. The problem he had with him that the fact, his son was gay. But throughout the entirety of the first 5 seasons, he still loves his son. He just always clowns on him and everything. And so they get married at the country club and they kiss. And this is the first time they kiss since season 2. See, the thing is that in season 1, the LGBT community had a problem with Cam and Mitchell because they never kissed or showed affection. So in season 2, they kissed all the time. But then after season 2, they no longer kissed. Oh, I never mentioned Sal. Sal, like I said before, is played by Elizabeth Banks. She is hilarious in this episode. She originally was supposed to officiate the wedding, but when they see her, she's now 9 months pregnant. She left her husband and now she's with the guy she's been with for 4 months. And he assumes the baby is his even though she is 9 months. Then she goes into labor in the first episode and she tells him sometimes when you're 4 months pregnant and the baby's about to come this soon, sometimes they come out black. Which means she's down for the brown. I could not believe it. But then something happened. When she had the baby came out as white could be. So I'm like, oh man, why didn't they pull the trigger on that? Like, why? Why? Man, that would have been so hilarious and stuff. So in a way, Phil has to officiate the wedding, but he wants to do he doesn't want to tell the jokes that Sal has because they're very offensive to the point where she's about to start off a joke with the H word and then she has to stop. So he decides he's going to do magic instead, which causes him to mess up his magic trick and pretty much mess up Claire's outfit so badly she has to keep put on corsages or whatever they call to cover up all the stains until she gets soaking wet. Oh, I never did mention the whole Andy whole Haley thing. So basically he is supposed to get on a plane and see his fiance. They're constantly on and off. They're apparently off again because she read a text telling him not to come, but he doesn't want to believe it and he wants to go be with his girlfriend. She tells him you can do better and there's somebody else out there for you, but he doesn't pick up on that. But she's talking about herself because she has literally fallen for him. He shows up at the wedding, but she doesn't know it. And he asks her straight up, were you talking about yourself and all this and that? She says no. And then in the taxi cab, he heads off. And I think he only reappears once in season 8. And so that's basically the episode in a nutshell and everything. Cam's sister does appear, but she appears in a non-speaking role for some bizarre reason. And so it was nice to see these two finally get married. Ever since season 1, they felt like they were a married couple, but they was just boyfriend and boyfriend. Even to the point where Mitchell's niece and nephew will always call him Uncle Cam. So in a way, they were always married, just never officially, legally, you know what I'm saying? And they're one of the funniest couples on this show. Mitchell is more like the straight, the kind of like the hard-nosed, straightforward, gay man. And Cam is just the overly flamboyant one and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.